treatment of the polypeptide with 2-mercaptoethanol yields 2 polypeptides with the following primary sequences. So I gave you that complete sequence, both of those strands. We want to try to figure out where they're linked. Well, I do know one thing for sure. The link is definitely going on that top one, that first polypeptide, using that link to one of the cytosines in the bottom structure. Fortunately, in that bottom structure, I have that as a possibility, and this one, and that one, and there. Now, that's not necessarily that big of a deal because 3 of those might not be doing anything, but I do know the top one is connected to at least one of those bottom ones. Now, my peptide sequences below imply where I'm actually seeing they're connected. All right, so what I mean by imply, both of these two, I'll circle these right here, with the 2 cytosines in there, are implying that they are connected to one another. Now, it's not guaranteed because technically if I had a fragment that includes those guys, I'd have 2 cytosines in there. But the 2 cytosine ones are the interesting ones because they're likely to be the connection. All right, what really helps out is in the first strand, alanine is found in that first strand. It's not found in the second one. So the fact that this one has alanine in it kind of actually implies that we're talking about this sequence. Now, I don't really have any other dead giveaways because MET is in one, but I don't have that in these 2 interesting spikes. All right, so but the alanine's there, so I think that second one is showing what we're connected. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume this alanine is that alanine, and one of these cytosines is that one. Now, what I'm kind of doing is seeing what I can eliminate that might be part of this backbone. So it's quite likely that these guys are those 2. But you notice there is no real chance that it could be a lysine there because we're not anywhere in that strand, or that tryptophan. So they're not in that first branch. So it's unlikely that those guys are part of this one. But that second cytosine must be near a lysine and a tryptophan in our second structure, or our second sequence. And I only see that one place. There's a cytosine, or that cytosine with a lysine and a tryptophan. So it kind of implies we are linked, first strand to that strand right there. All right, now that I've done that markup, what I'm going to do is erase all these highlighters that I've just been doing. I'm going to put that bridge right back in there, and then down here on this fragment, I'm going to highlight that full thing and say, all right, there's the cytosines, the alanine right there, that lysine, probably this one, the 2 cytosines are covered, tryptophan, got to be this one because it's the only one there. And then serine and PHE, we actually kind of have 2 choices. It could be this PHC, it's got to be that serine, or it could be this one. All right, so we know where one linkage is, and we're not going to bother to try to figure out for sure where that PHE is. But we are looking at this one to see if we can tell where the other 2 are linked, because this implies another pair of cytosines is linked. All right, but I have an SER, which I have at the beginning and the end near cytosine. So that implies one of these is one of those N locations. All right, but this one has a PHE, but I have 2 PHEs. And I don't really have a PHE off of this cytosine unless there had been an arginine in it. So that kind of actually concludes or points out that our link, our second link, must be between these 2. Because our fragment then, so we're looking at these guys, we have our 2 cytosines. I'm ignoring that serine for a second. but the PHEs are what actually kind of put this together. And then there's that serine.